Probably wondering what I'm doing, but it's official. The Kickr is broke, and it is going back to Wahoo. What's up? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel, and I got a special one for you, right? As you've seen from the intro, my Wahoo Kickr broke, and I had to send it back to Wahoo. Initially, I never had any plans to make a video like this, like a full review. But the reason why I did, because I want to talk about kind of what I went through my time of ownership, and kind of give you some information and some insight of what it's like to own this product, right? Jumping right off into it, let me give you a disclaimer. I'm not going to be talking about the specs of the trainer, how much it weighs, how much resistance can it do. If you want to know some of those specifics, you can go to any website that sells it and they'll tell you that. I'm just going to tell you about my experience as I've owned it throughout my duration of ownership, right? I purchased my Wahoo Kickr version 5 January 5th, 2021. I almost had this thing for like 2 years to date. I'm like a couple days off because today's the 7th. When I bought my trainer, I paid $1,200 for it, $1,199. Total time in miles, I have 4,078 miles and 235 hours on this trainer. So I feel like I can give you some good honest feedback of what it's like to own this product. I'm gonna talk about the things I liked about it, the things I didn't like about it, and kind of like how it broke and what Wahoo's doing about it right now. The don't likes. One of the things I didn't like about the trainer, I didn't like the disc bike setup on the trainer. So when you get the Kickr version 5, you can run a disc brake bike or a rim brake bike. When I first built my Trek or my disc brake bike, when I was working on my bike fit, kind of getting comfortable, I was putting on the trainer a little bit and trying to ride it, and I just didn't like the way it was setting up. I didn't like the through axle part of it, and then like the Kickr is kind of heavy and very sturdy, kind of aligning it. I wasn't feeling that. And then also having like the spacer to put in the brake caliper so you don't use like your you don't mess up your hydraulic brakes. I wasn't feeling that. Does it work? It does work. Is it hard to do? I don't think it's hard. It's just a little cumbersome. In my personal opinion, I think the smart trainer works the best with the rim brake bike, and that's just my opinion, you know. And now I really don't deal with that because I have a dedicated rim brake bike that I always have on a trainer. I never put my Trek on a trainer. Whenever I'm ready to ride, my trainer bike is on there. I just hop on it and I just go. But that was one of the things I did not like about the Wahoo Kickr 5. The next thing I didn't like is the cassette. The Kickr does come with a cassette, which is dope because the two trainers that are in the same market is either the Tax Neo 2T or the Wahoo Kickr, right? And the Tax does not come with a cassette. So Wahoo does give you a cassette, which is dope, but the brand is Sunrace. I never heard of that brand until I had a Kickr, you know? And I didn't feel like the cassette shift well. I didn't really like it at all. So I just pretty much I just threw it away. I ain't even gonna lie, I got rid of it. And I put on a Timecodes cassette. And for the range, I did a 1134. On all my bikes I ride on the road, I don't have an 1134, but the reason why I put the 1134 on the trainer is just to have that maximum range. And then my dedicated trainer bike, it's a one by, and I have a 53 tooth chain ring up front. So it just made it easier to have a 53 and then 1134. I just had a big range of gears and it just worked. So I didn't like the stock cassette, but I swapped it out. It wasn't hard to do, and that made life so much better for me. Another thing I didn't like about it, the Kickr advertised that you do not need a wheel block riser to raise your bike up. And I think that's not true. And I'm gonna tell you why I feel like that. So with the Wahoo Kickr version 5, I have the access feet, and the access feet just kind of gives you a little bit more movement, a little more natural feel when you're riding. With that access feet, I think that raises the back up a little bit. And when I first got the Kickr, I never really noticed it. And when it all came to fruition for me was I had my TT bike. I was always putting my TT bike on a trainer. I'd be riding it for hours, and then I'd take it off the trainer and I'd go ride outside. And this is before I had a dedicated trainer bike. And when I was riding my TT bike outside, man, it just, I don't know, it just felt different. Like the bike fit wasn't the same and the setup wasn't the same. Something was always off, just like a little bit. So one day I'm on Amazon, and I just buy a wheel riser, right? The wheel riser comes in. I put the wheel riser on the bike, and then the bike is level, and that cleared everything up. So I think that if you have the Axis feet, you probably need a real riser to make it level. And now I have the Kickr Climb. With the Climb, I never experienced it being unlevel, even with the Access feet. But when I had the Access feet and I didn't have the Kickr Climb, I definitely needed a wheel riser just to make it level, because it was slightly tilted down just a little bit. So that was one of the things I did not like about the Kickr version 5. A big thing that I did not like, when I'm using erg mode and I had a heart rate monitor, I don't know why, man, it was always like funny. Like when it was changing wattages, I would always have issues with it. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily a Wahoo Kickr issue, or maybe like an Apple TV issue, or maybe a Zwift issue, but whenever I was riding a erg mode workout and I had my heart rate monitor, it would never read right. And not the heart rate, but the erg mode wouldn't read right. It wouldn't switch to the right wattages on time. It'd be hella laggy. Yeah, it got to the point that if I was doing a erg mode workout, I would not wear a heart rate monitor because it would always mess it up. So that was like a big dislike that I had about it. And I don't even remember the last time I used a heart rate monitor for an erg mode workout, because that was such a big issue. But that might have been something that might have been fixed with some firmware on either the Wahoo side or maybe like the Zwift side. But that was a big thing that I did not like about the Wahoo Kickr, right? And that's pretty much all the dislikes that, hold on, wait, there's one more dislike. Big dislike, right? There's no power button on this thing, right? You could never turn it off. And it was crazy because I was talking to my dad about it. Dad has a Tax smart trainer. And we was talking one day and he was like, hey, does your Kickr have a power button? I was like, nah, that shit been on for like 6 months. You know what I'm saying? And it was just weird that it didn't have a power button, because I was just thinking like, what piece of an electronics that you have that doesn't have a power button? That's just kind of strange, right? But also, I think Wahoo figured that out and they fixed it, because through some firmware updates sometime from the 2 years that I've owned it, the Kickr does turn off now. Once I shut down Zwift and I leave it alone for whatever amount of time, whenever I come back to it, it's always powered off. But before, it wouldn't turn off, but I still think it'd be pretty dope just for it to have a power button. And that kind of leads into some of the issues I had when it broke and I was trying to troubleshoot and fix it. Not having a power button was one of the things that it just made things a little more difficult. But anyway, that was the last dislike. On to the pros, right? Things I really, really like about the Wahoo Kickr. It has a carrying handle. That might not sound like a lot, and I don't move it around a lot. I have a dedicated space for it. But having that carrying handle, man, it makes all the difference. Because I had the Tax Neo 2T initially. That was the first one I had, and it doesn't have a carrying handle. And it's kind of weird because like the way that once you kind of fold the legs up, you can kind of get under it, kind of carry it like a baby, but it doesn't have a carrying handle. But the Wahoo Kickr 5, that carrying handle, man, game changer. Tax, y'all need to put a dang up carrying handle on your dang old smart trainer. I'm just saying. Another thing I like about the Wahoo Kickr, the weight of the flywheel. Oh my goodness. It has a very realistic feel. I had a Kickr, I want to say it was a Kickr Snap. The Kickr Snap. I had the Kickr Snap before, and it had a smaller flywheel, and it kind of had you more locked in. That wasn't it. The first time I rode that Kickr version 5, man, the weight of that flywheel, it felt really good. I really like the weight of the flywheel. It's very realistic. It gives you a great ride feel. It makes indoor cycling that much better. Next thing, the Axis feet. And I kind of talked about that before, and that's kind of like a love-hate thing, because like I said, with the Axis feet, I think you need a wheel riser to make it level. But I have the Kickr Climb, And with the Kickr Climb, it really don't matter. It auto levels. But the access feet, it does make a difference, right? When I had the Neo 2, the Neo 2 has a lot of flex in it, but good flex. And I do like the way the Neo 2 feels a little bit better. And I was kind of on the fence about getting the Kickr before they had the access feet. But once they dropped the version 5 with the access feet, I knew I wanted it and I got it. And the access feet is what's up. It may sound kind of gimmicky, but it does make a difference. And I really like that about the Wahoo Kickr 5, the access feet. Another thing I like about it is it does not require any calibration. You don't got to do no spin downs. You just get on that thing and you just go. Because like I said, I had the Kickr Snap before, and then it was saying like sometimes you got to get on it, ride it for like 10 minutes, and then perform a spin down, and then go back to, dude, ain't nobody got time for that. When I'm ready to ride, I want to get on the bike and I just want to go. So with the no calibration, man, it's perfect. Like I said, you just hop on that thing and you just roll out. The no calibration is a great addition to the trainer. I love that about it. One of the main reasons I went with the Wahoo is because of the Wahoo ecosystem. The tax, you just got the trainer and that's going to be it. And that's plenty. But if you want a more immersive feel, you can get the Wahoo Kickr, you can get the Climb, you can get the Fan. And when I first got my trainer, I was like, I don't think I'd want the Climb. And then I was like, I don't know if I'd want the Fan either. But when I was out in Korea, I had went to the Rafa Clubhouse and they had the whole Wahoo ecosystem set up. They had the Climb, they had the Kickr, and they had the Fan. And I got to ride the Climb, and it does make a difference, man. I will say that it's money well spent, and I really like having that Climb. And then the Climb will let you do other things too, along with the elevation changing. A indoor cycling tip: people would tell you, you indoor cycling, you're in it for a long time, and you kind of like stuck in the same position, and sometimes you just want like a little more relief, or you want to sit up some people will raise their bike up a little bit more to kind of give them more relief, so like if you have a wheel riser, some people put a book and then put the wheel riser and then put the bike on top, and it kind of raise it up a little bit and it kind of give you a little more relief. With the Kickr Climb, while you're riding, you can do that, because sometimes I might just be on the bike, I'm doing like a zone 2 workout, I'm gonna be on the bike for like 2 hours, I'm just pedaling the same cadence, the same power. Sometimes I just kind of want to sit up a little bit. You can let the Kickr Climb do its thing, but you can also switch it to manual and you can raise it up a little bit or slide it down a little bit. And it's just real convenient for helping you be comfortable when you're riding inside. So that was really dope about having that with the whole Wahoo ecosystem. Also with the Wahoo ecosystem, I'm gonna talk about the smart fan, right? I thought the fan was a gimmick, but it's not. If there's something that you need, even if you don't have a Wahoo Kickr, I would still recommend that you get the fan. If you have a Kickr, it makes it that much better, because the fan is a smart fan. I know that's crazy to say, but there's different things you can set it for. So let's say you can set it for speed, right? And you can put a range. As you increase speed, the intensity of the fan, the way it blows, will go up with your speed or go down with your speed. Also, you can set it to heart rate, right? Let's say your max heart rate is, I don't know, 180. You can put the max intensity of the fan to 180. So the higher your heart rate goes, the more intense the fan's going to blow. And when your heart rate cools down, then the fan cools down. And that smart fan, man, it really changed the game for me when I was cycling, because when I had any other fan before, like sometimes you get on a bike and you don't want no air, and then you ride and you're like, man, I want some air, but then it's like too much air and it would suck, like getting off the bike, getting on the bike, adjusting it. Also with the smart fan, I could control it from my phone, and that was everything. I'm on the bike, I'm riding, I pick up my phone, I could turn the fan on, I could turn the fan off. Also with the Wahoo fan, dude, the spread is crazy. I've been through probably about like 4 different fans, and they kind of had like a focus area that the air would blow. With the Wahoo fan, dude, that's the only fan you need. When the fan is set up and I turn it on, it covers my whole body, and it's just super dope. So that was another reason why I got the Wahoo Kickr, because of the whole Wahoo ecosystem. Super, super dope. Let's talk about what you really want to know. How did my smart trainer break? So, dude, I don't know how it broke, man. It all happened like around the holiday times. I say around Christmas is when it started acting funny. Usually, I just go hop on my bike. I start my Apple TV. It cuts on the regular TV. The trainer turns on. It connects, and I'm just out, and that's it. So everything hooks up. I'm going for a ride, and it's like my power and my cadence is not reading correctly. Like not at all. It's like way off. It won't even get like it was floating around like 70, 80 watts. It wouldn't get over 100 watts no matter what gear I was in, no matter what chainring I was in, no matter how much power I was trying to put out or the cadence I was spinning. It just was not reading right. So I was like, dang, what's up with this? And I pretty much tried everything. I tried completely disconnecting from my Apple TV. I tried deleting Zwift from the Apple TV, re-downloading it, put my profile back on, forgetting all the devices. I tried running Zwift on my phone, connecting the training to it. I also tried using Zwift on my MacBook, connecting the training to it, but it kept doing the same thing. It was just not reading accurately. So I was like, there's got to be a way to fix this. So then I was like, let me check the firmware, right? So I go on there and I of course, I needed a firmware update. I do the firmware update, and then all of a sudden, like the first thing I noticed was when you connect to the Zwift screen, there used to be like a little wrench there. You can go there and they do like a spin down. And it says you never need to do a calibration, but I was like, maybe I just need to do a calibration just to see. But once I did that firmware update, that wrench went away, so I couldn't even do the dang on spin down or a calibration on it, right? So then I was like, there's got to be a way to reset it. So of course, there's no power button on this thing. There's no power button. There's no reset button. All you can do is kind of like unplug it and let it sit. I unplugged it. I let it sit for 10 seconds. Let it sit for 30 seconds. Let it sit for a minute. I let that damn thing sit for a couple days. I plug it back up and it kept doing the same thing. So I'm looking around on forums and stuff. And then actually my girl found it. She found a tutorial that talks about how to do a manual factory reset on the Wahoo Kickr. And I'm gonna make a whole video about that because it's a whole process, and I feel like there should be some more information about that out there, and it's not. I did the manual factory reset, the manual factory calibration, still wasn't working right. So now I'm like, damn, I'm kind of pissed about it, right? I wanted to call Wahoo and talk to somebody on the phone, but everything was closed until the third, and I could have just submitted a trouble ticket to start I don't know, the resolution process. But like I said, I really want to talk to somebody on the phone because it might have been something I was doing wrong that I could have fixed like that. So January 3rd comes, I pick up the phone, I call these guys. They still not there. They not answering. They're like, hey, we'll be back on the third, and it's the third, and they're not there. So I was like, okay, I'll just submit a ticket. So I submitted a ticket to Wahoo, and yo, it's thorough. I put like maybe like 3, 4 paragraphs in there explaining everything that I tried, all the disconnecting, all the reconnecting, the manual factory calibration, the manual factory reset. I've also sent videos of me doing it. I sent videos of me riding. I sent them my proof of purchase, like everything, right? The next day, Wahoo wrote me back, and I was like, okay, that's what's up. I read the email, and the email's telling me to do everything that I just did and to submit my proof of purchase, submit video showing me do it, and then they could do something about it. And I'm like, these jokers they didn't read my email at all. So now I'm super pissed, right? So then I go on their website, I'm looking at like the warranty. Their warranty says after a year, that's kind of it. And like I told y'all, I bought my trainer January 5th, 2021. So it's way past a year. So at this point, I'm like, dude, I might just be out of trainer and I might just have to, get another one. So I had another trainer in my cart and I was about to buy it, but I was like, you know what? Let me be a little bit of patient and just wait. I wrote them another email and I said, hey, all the stuff you're telling me to do, I mean, I already did it. Can you like read the email I sent you first? Reattach all the files, send it all to them again. And then the next day they wrote me back again. They said, hey, guess what? We're gonna replace your trainer. And I was like, yo, That's what's up. They gave me a prepaid shipping label. I packed everything up in the box. I got it, and I took it to FedEx, right? Now, the only caveat to getting a new trainer is it's not, it may not be new. It may be like a factory recondition or whatever. But like I said, my warranty's gone. I done put 4,000 miles on this damn thing. If they're gonna give me another one that works, I'm all good with it. So as you've seen in the beginning of the video, I dropped it off at FedEx today. This is January 7th. And they said, oh, another thing that was cool too, they're not even gonna wait for it to get back. Once I shipped it and they see that it's shipped and it's going back to them, they're gonna put another one in the mail. But today's Saturday, so I'm expecting them maybe to ship it, I don't know, maybe Monday. And the Wahoo facility is in Georgia, and I'm in Georgia. So I'm hoping, man, I get my trainer, like, I don't know, man, within a couple of days. And because y'all know the Tour de Zwift starts on January 9th, man. And the last tour that they had on Zwift, I rode the whole series and I did like quick recaps of everything. And I definitely want to do the same thing. But stage one, I might be late, just depends on when I get my trainer. But hopefully I get it by the 9th, and then we rocking and rolling. So that's pretty much where I'm at with this trainer. What I would do different, thinking about everything now, to keep it 100 with you, knowing what I know now about the smart trainer and having the Kickr, the climb, the fan. If I had to do it all over again, I'm not gonna lie, I would get the Kickr bike. The Kickr bike is what's up. I thought it was a big gimmick. I was at a store in Atlanta and they had one and I rode it, and man, it's the truth, man. The bike is the truth, but it is very expensive. But I know from my smart trainer setup, I done got a dedicated bike. I got the Kickr, the fan, everything. I'd have been better off just buying the whole Kickr bike and been done with it. But if the Kickr bike is not in your price range and you're wondering, should you buy a Wahoo Kickr? I'm telling you, get one. People who say, man, you don't need a smart trainer, you just got to ride outside, they tripping, bro. I be inside. I done spent a lot of time outside in places I didn't want to be. At times, I didn't want to be outside. If the weather is bad, I'm inside, bro. All day on the smart trainer. The smart trainer is what's up. Like I said, for the Wahoo Kickr that I had, I rode 4,000 miles on it. I got 235 hours on that thing. I'm looking forward to getting the new one, and hopefully it lasts longer than 2 years, man. And, and we're going to keep this thing rolling. But that is my Wahoo Kickr 5 review, man. More to follow, more coming. I'm going to keep the content rolling. That's all I got for y'all, man. I'm out.
RobbArmstrong.